Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into the meteoric and, often polarizing rise of Mark Zuckerberg, using the facts drawn straight from the source material. From a Harvard dorm room to the absolute pinnacle of global tech, his story is one of unprecedented scale, continuous reinvention, and intense public scrutiny. Take a look at this number, $251 billion. As of late 2025, that staggering net worth puts him right in the top 3 wealthiest people on Earth. But how exactly did he pull that off? How did a college student build a platform that connects and, let's be honest, divides billions of people all over the world? So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be mapping his evolution across 5 key eras: the hacker prodigy, building the Facebook empire, the price of power, philanthropy and politics, and finally, the modern tech titan. Let's get into it.
Part 1. The hacker prodigy.
You know, his coding journey actually didn't start at Harvard. Picture this. At just 11 years old, he builds a chat network called ZuckNet, just so the computers in his house could talk to his dad's dental office. By the time he hits Harvard in 2002, he already has this massive reputation as a programming whiz. Fast forward to 2003, his sophomore year, and he's building early social experiments like CourseMatch and FaceMash, which, by the way, famously crashed part of Harvard's network. But all of that was really just the warm-up act for February 2004, when he and his roommates officially launched the Facebook.
Which brings us to Part 2, building the Facebook empire.
And man, the popularity of this thing just exploded like wildfire. Zuckerberg and his co-founder Dustin Moskovitz rapidly rolled out the platform across all these major universities. Realizing they had a total game changer on their hands, Zuckerberg makes a pivotal choice. He drops out of Harvard. They pack up, move out west to Palo Alto, the absolute heart of Silicon Valley, and set up shop. Even in those super early days, they were already swiping left on massive buyout offers from huge corporations. He wasn't looking for a quick exit, you see. He was literally building an empire.
His whole philosophy back then can be summed up in this one famous quote: "It's okay to break things to make them better." This was that classic hacker ethos, and it drove the company's relentless, aggressive innovation. They'd throw these intense, all-night hackathons just to conceive and build entirely new features before the sun even came up. He wanted rapid iteration, and he absolutely wasn't afraid of the friction that came with it.
And that relentless drive definitely paid off. By 2013, with his platform connecting hundreds of millions of people around the globe, his annual base salary drops to exactly $1 single. No annual bonuses either. It was an incredibly symbolic move. It basically signaled his total shift from just an employee mindset to acting as the global architect and controlling shareholder of a corporate juggernaut.
Now, naturally, with that kind of dramatic success comes the pop culture lore, right? In 2010, Hollywood drops the highly dramatized movie The Social Network. It painted a pretty complex and honestly ruthless picture of Facebook's founding. So it really begs the question, what did the architect himself actually think about seeing his life play out on the big screen?
Well, despite a lot of widespread disputes over what was actually accurate, and Zuckerberg's own desire to just be seen as a good guy, his review of the movie was famously and hilariously understated. He just called it interesting. He actually delivered that exact line straight to Jesse Eisenberg, the actor who played him, during a surprise guest appearance on Saturday Night Live. Okay, moving on to Part 3. The price of power. Because building an empire doesn't happen without a cost, and the foundational mythology of Facebook is deeply entangled in this exact dispute. Shortly after launch, the Winklevoss twins and Divya Narendra accused Zuckerberg of stringing them along while he secretly built a competing product based on their idea. Facebook countersued, and boom, we get years of intense legal wrangling over who truly birthed the concept of the social network. To finally make the ConnectU lawsuit go away in 2008, it took a massive settlement. We're talking a $20 million cash payout alongside 1.2 million Facebook shares. And as we all know, those shares became unbelievably valuable once the company eventually went public. But you know, early lawsuits were just the tip of the iceberg. As the platform scaled to billions, Zuckerberg transformed from a hoodie-wearing coder to a suit-wearing frequent defendant on Capitol Hill. He faced intense, bipartisan grilling over everything. You've got the massive 2018 Cambridge Analytica data privacy scandal, intense debates over Section 230, which is the law shielding tech platforms from liability, and heavy scrutiny over the spread of misinformation. Notably, during a 2024 Senate hearing regarding teen mental health, Zuckerberg literally stood up, turned around, and publicly apologized directly to the families of children who were victims of online harm. Which brings us to our 4th era, philanthropy, and politics.
Following the birth of their first daughter in December 2015, Mark and his wife Priscilla Chan made a truly historic pledge. They promised to transfer a staggering 99% of their Facebook shares, which were valued at around $45 billion at the time, to their newly formed organization over the course of their lives.
But here's the fascinating catch. Unlike traditional charities or foundations, they set up the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative as an LLC, a limited liability company. Why does that matter? Because an LLC allows the organization to engage in political lobbying and make for-profit investments right alongside its charitable giving. It's a move that critics and academics have labeled philanthrocapitalism, basically blending business strategies with philanthropic goals.
Neutrally, tracking his politics through the source material shows a pretty fascinating evolution. In his 20s, he was heavily funding progressive causes, like immigration reform, but jumped to 2024 and reports show a significant shift. In a letter to the House Judiciary Committee, he expressed actual regret over yielding to pressure from the Biden administration regarding COVID-19 content moderation. He also noted he's totally done funding election infrastructure, a practice some critics called Zuckerbucks. Reports even suggest he's begun privately describing his politics as leaning much more toward libertarianism these days.
All right, Part 5, the modern tech titan.
This modern era has been completely defined by a highly publicized lifestyle rebrand. I mean, he completely ditched the plain gray t-shirt for gold chains and trendy streetwear. He's suddenly heavily involved in combat sports, competing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and training in MMA. He even commissioned a massive Roman-style sculpture of his wife for their property. And to top it all off, he bought the Launchpad, a 387-foot, $300 million mega yacht that sails the globe with its own dedicated support vessel. It's wild.
But there's a really striking irony here, right? The guy whose entire corporate mission is global digital connectivity has poured hundreds of millions of dollars into extreme physical isolation. We're talking heavily fortified, ultra-exclusive estates. This includes a massive 1,450-acre retreat in Kauai, Hawaii, where he's literally raising Wagyu cattle, and a record-breaking $170 million estate down in Florida's heavily guarded billionaire's bunker.
And he is actively leveraging this new titan status to navigate some massive regulatory roadblocks. Facing a monumental $30 billion antitrust lawsuit from the FTC in 2025, Zuckerberg visibly worked to align Meta's interests with the current political reality. He's taking high-profile meetings, like dining at Mar-a-Lago, to mend relations with the incoming Trump administration, all while pushing back hard against tech regulations over in the European Union. So as we wrap up this explainer, we really have to ask ourselves, now that he has matured from a college prodigy whose motto was break things, into a modern titan who controls the digital town square for over half the planet, how will his evolving philosophy shape our shared future? He has the data, he has the wealth, and he certainly has the influence. The only question is, what is he going to build or break next? Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and stay curious.